All right. So that's all on me. I'm going to turn it over to our first panel leader. Karen Facio is our moderator. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about her. She's the director of Microsoft Worldwide Partner Marketing, co-founder of Women in Cloud. She has a long list of fantastic things, but I will say this about her. She's an Aquarius. And if you know anything about Aquarius, they are charming. They have an eloquent way of using words to help you in the most unexpected situations. Some of the words describing her are transformational. She's an AI transformative cloud driver, and she's a woman in tech who's making a difference. Let's give it up for Karen Facio. Come on, Karen, let's do it. Woo! Come on up on stage. Yay, Karen. Woo! Here she comes. Woo! Here she comes.
Patty, I swear to God, your energy is so fabulous. Thank you so much. And this is the first time I've ever been introduced with my zodiac sign, so thank you. Yeah, definitely full on Aquarius in every way. Welcome everyone today. Really appreciate all of us being here. If you aren't feeling the excitement and the energy and the fire that this community brings, I mean, how can you not, right? Patty is definitely raising the roof on when it comes to energy, and I think what's really representative of the community that we've built together here. If you have been participating in Inspire over the last day, you've probably heard a lot about the meaning of community, the meaning of coming together to imagine a new world forward. That we can see a future where we are a part of sustainable growth, inclusive growth, where technology is trusted and the fundamental rights of people are protected, are supported, are built in to the technologies in the way that we serve people and planet. And this is something that you know, our CEO Satya Nadella speaks on often. It's actually embedded in the culture at Microsoft and in the culture of what we try to model for our ecosystem at large, and certainly within this community in Women in Cloud. And that's around the purpose of a corporation, right? That it is here to create profitable solutions to the challenges of people and planet in every community and in every country. It's what our customers and partners and colleagues expect, and it's what the world demands from today's corporations. That is such a powerful statement. I hope you sort of really feel the gravity of what that is, the energy that something like that creates, and something that we embody here as a Women in Cloud community. So we're going to kick things off by bringing on a panel of experts. If we could go ahead and do that now. And start talking about what it means to be purpose-minded, purpose-driven, bringing in purpose-driven leadership into our organizations. Hello, Amy. Good to see you.
Hey, Karen.
And Jason.
Hello,
Teresa.
Karen. Hello.
Hello. Let's first start off by doing just some brief introductions, if we could. And we do have a little bit of an icebreaker. Maybe we could do an introduction and also incorporate our icebreaker. And the question, and I'm going to invite everyone here participating in our session today to also answer this in the chat. The question is, if you could make one change in the world, what would it be? And if we could, let's start with you, Teresa.
Well, first of all, I'm a Virgo, very much a perfectionist. And one change in the world, I would love people to adopt cloud more. So hear me out, right? So if you think about how Uber, Airbnb, Netflix, they've all changed their industries. We know that cloud is incredibly transformative with innovation. And so when you talked about the purpose-led mindset and things like sustainability, diversity, education, right? So if we use cloud more, that's actually a really great way to tackle those problems in the same way that these digital natives really transformed their business.
And Teresa, what business are you with?
I'm part of Accenture. I'm Accenture's Cloud First Chief Technologist, where I get to look forward and really incubate the future disruptive growth today.
Excellent, wonderful, thank you. I love the Zodiac introductions. Let's keep that going too. So Amy, let's go with you next.
Great. Hi, Karen. Hi, everybody. I'm a Gemini, so the twin sign. And fortunately, I'm feeling like the vivacious, outgoing, externally focused persona today, not the internal one. I work at Insights. I lead marketing for North America, and just really excited to be part of the technology world and the channel and so forth, and especially this group. There's so many things that we could say about what needs to change in the world. And I think probably most top of mind for me has been climate change lately. I live in Arizona. We've had the worst fire season ever in a long time. And, there's just so many downstream implications from what's happening with our climate. And it affects so many parts of our lives. So I think that would be the one huge thing I would want to tackle.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Amy. All right, Jason, how about you?
All right. Coming from a Scorpion, so I'm actually a Scorpion. And I just want to say that I feel extremely blessed and honored to be here today to spend the afternoon with you. I always get excited about talking about four of my favorite topics: leadership, technology, diversity and inclusion, economic impact. Once again, my name is Jason Mudd. I lead the Source to Pay organization for IBM. I have a variety of functions that I lead, from transformation to technology, operations, accounts payable, client solutions, as well as supplier diversity, just to name a few. And the one thing I would change in the world, actually, I have to say, it's a toss-up between ridding the world of scarcity, all scarcity around resource and economics, and if anyone's read the book by Isabel Wilkerson, Cash, Ridding the World of Cash. So it's kind of a toss-up between scarcity and cash.
Wonderful. Thank you. I mean, we need all of it, right? Everything that we just described here. And I think that what I love hearing about each of your, your sort of ambitions, right, is that it is aligned to something that is, sort of intrinsic. And I think part of that purpose mindset that we're here to talk about today. So maybe let's open it up with a first question, which I'll throw to you, Teresa, and let's help set the stage. So we've heard a lot of terms knocked around: growth mindset, being growth mindset oriented, purpose mindset, being purpose driven. What do these things mean to you? Like how would you like to have the audience think about these different ways of thinking about leadership and these kinds of mindsets?
Yeah, I think with the growth mindset, that's traditionally what we've thought about. It's about building a better business. And I think there's a pivot when we talk about a purpose mindset. It's really broader. It's to create better communities, better lives. And we at Accenture, we did a pivot in the last year, right? At the end of last year, we launched our biggest brand move in a decade, Let There Be Change. And with that move, we announced our purpose. Our purpose is to deliver on the promise of technology and human ingenuity. And so this is important, right? It's actually leveraging our strengths in technology and human ingenuity. And it gives me as an employee a lot of power, right? It's fuel that empowers me, that it's a bigger purpose. It's certainly we're going to work with our customers, but in addition to helping our customers with better economic growth, we're helping them with sustainability, with responsible business, with their own talent. It helps me as a leader, right, with my team. And again, it's looking at career opportunities for them, but looking at continuous learning and wellness, right? So it's really about mobilizing the power within your business to do something greater than. And I want to share a quote from our CEO, Julie Sweet, right? She says, why do we make this announcement and this purpose, right? It's, quote, in this moment, to emerge stronger, there's only one choice: to embrace change and ensure that it benefits all, your customers, people, shareholders, partners, and communities. And so, it's a bigger thing, and it really gives you that armor, if you will, right? There's a lot of things happening in the world. Maybe some of your, even day to day, a lot of things don't go well. This purpose gives you that armor and that field of power through it.
Oh my God, that is so insightful. And I love, I cyberstalk Julie Sweet as well because I think she's so inspirational. She's definitely in my threads. I love the work that Accenture has been doing in this space. A lot for us to sort of model from and also learn from. Does anyone else want to sort of give their perspective on the difference between the growth mindset versus sort of a purpose mindset?
I might just chime in and say, when I think about growth mindset, I think more about an individual who is convinced that they can continue to change. But a purpose mindset is so much larger than that, as Teresa pointed out. It is about, being a change maker, an agent of change, things that happen on a much larger scale, things that create a vision for people, bring them along with it. In a way that sort of leverages the capabilities and strengths of so many people in service of that particular vision or goal.
I think that's a really good insight. Jason, I'm sorry, did you want to say something?
The one thing that I would underpin both of those are from a purposeful mindset. I think there's an underlining thread of just servant leadership. So what I like to add, just from a servant leadership perspective, then you start to add in certain attributes like, trust and team focus and just being courageous and resourceful, and ultimately, having a outcome-based focus that really allows for, being nimble and really building businesses for tomorrow.
Yep. I think that's, what I'm hearing as a theme is you're thinking beyond the immediate, thinking about, sort of the systems of impact. And that, in a lot of ways with this kind of sort of North Star, even an internal North Star, it kind of gets you through the tough stuff because it is tough work. Because there's something more behind it that's kind of making, sort of propelling that vision forward. So thank you so much for all of you sharing your perspective on that. I think that resonates so well with the people who are here and the people that are definitely involved in the Women in Cloud community. Let's ask another question here about ways that we think companies can enable a culture of change making that helps to also connect to something that's very important to us as people in technology, with digital transformation and the things that we want to do to power inclusive economy. I'd love to sort of throw that over to Amy, if you wanted to give some comments on that.
Sure. Thanks, Karen. I think for companies, it really is about, maybe exactly what Teresa was talking about. What is your purpose, and making sure that your whole organization is rallied around that purpose. For example, at Insight, our purpose is we make meaningful connections to help businesses run smarter. And that has a lot of layers to it. But one of the ways that we create momentum behind that purpose is through a shared set of values that are more than words on a wall, because it really guides sort of the rules of engagement, if you will, about how we're going to work with each other internally in service of our purpose, but also with our external stakeholders, clients, and so forth. And we have 3 simple values: hunger, heart, and harmony. And it's amazing how the simplicity and the power of being very clear about sort of the behaviors that go along with your purpose can really fuel the forward progress of a company or of a vision. So I think it is truly back to sort of creating something that everybody wants to be a part of, something that every person knows is bigger than they are by themselves. And that collective power, that union of sort of, purpose and energy is what can really help a company differentiate itself when it comes to a purpose-driven perspective.
Yeah. Anyone else wanted to chime in? Teresa?
Yeah, I think really we're talking about trust as a new currency at work, right? So I think Accenture at the last year, between March and July, we did a survey, a global pulse survey, and it found that 60%, this is during the pandemic, 60% of people found that they believed companies were doing the right thing, right? And that's very important because we also asked, and coming out of it, like workers are holding ever higher expectations about how their organizations are going to lead responsibly through the crisis and then post-crisis, right? That expectation has been set. And roughly 1 in 2 workers are agreeing that ethical, sustainable, moral values that the company holds are really important for them, right? And so it's going to be how they choose to work for somebody and how much they're going to be engaged in the job, right? So I love how Amy has those, those key values, right? That's very important for everybody to feel like they're part of a bigger thing.
Yeah. Jason, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Sure. I mean, when it comes to the digital transformation and really having purpose, IBM, for example, is a hybrid cloud AI company, and we're continuously looking at, now and moving forward, what type of strategic decisions, have to be made. Just like, all of the women in cloud companies, when you sit back and say, what is the strategy of that culture and change making that you're looking at? How are you looking at competitive advantage? How are you looking at sustainability? How are you looking at that ultimate will to survive? So in my opinion, really there's 3 distinct characteristics to look at, and that is, just what is your awareness around the digital marketplace? What kind of questions are you starting to evaluate, from everything from interconnectivity and speed and smarter hardware to what type of adoption strategies are you looking at? How are you going to continuously pivot? And then last but not least, especially from a bottom line, to take action, right, in this new digital economy. So very, very critical that we're all thinking about, what does that digital play look like? What is our purpose within?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that's, we're hearing a lot of language around inclusive economic growth, and that's what we're talking about, right? It's that when we want growth is there, and certainly for those of us that are in tech, we know that this pie is massive, and there's plenty of work, there's plenty of opportunity. Can we do this with inclusion at the center of our strategies? Yeah, the answer is yes. And can we, do the work, right, that helps us to, leverage this purpose frame, but also this market that wants to see it from us. So love all the thoughts here. Thank you for sharing that. Let's also ask about, best practices, right? So, I have some great organizations that have this embedded in the culture. What are some things that you've seen work? What have you instituted in your own organizations to sort of get this purpose mindset supported and thriving in your organizations? Let's start with Jason.
Yeah, I truly believe there's 3 items that companies should really focus on, and it's, start with policy, lead with action, and make sure it's pervasive throughout the culture. For example, IBM has a rich history of diversity and inclusion. Back in 1953, IBM, we wrote our first equal opportunity letter that was published 11 years before the Civil Rights Act. So it's in our policy. It's something that we do. It's something that we live. It's the way we act. As I mentioned, lead with action. Supplier diversity is a part of my organization, and we have a tremendous commitment to that economic engine to ensure that we're spreading our dollars and putting our dollars into the community, into our suppliers, into our clients. In fact, we channeled over $1 billion in spend to women-owned businesses in 2020, and it's just that we're a continuous mainstay on the $1 billion roundtable, and so we lead with action. And then I'll conclude here that building a culture of being inclusive is so important. And I quote Verena Myers, who said, "Diversity is being invited to the party, and inclusion is being asked to dance," which I just love that quote, because at IBM, there's really, 4 areas we look at: advocacy, allianceship, employee experience, and accountability. So once if you ensure that those are in the DNA of your company, the thread of your culture, you're starting to create that inclusive environment that allows not only your clients, your employees, your suppliers, your whole ecosystem to dance in an inclusive nature.
Mm-hmm. Jason, I love that quote. I've heard that referenced also, and I actually remember reading an article that took that a little further. It was something to the effect of, taking it to sort of the next level of inclusion is being invited to also design the party. Right. So, and I was like, okay, yes, I think that works. And also dance. How about you, Amy? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think I would just maybe put an exclamation point on the diversity and inclusion piece, because I think, when we're talking about big visions or big, going after really big goals through a purpose-driven approach, those are complex and they require all kinds of people, all kinds of thinking, all kinds of experience, all perspectives in order to solve. And if you're an organization, I think every study has proven this, where everyone is sort of the same, your performance is just not going to be as powerful as if you have a lot of different talent at the table, and that can be it can mean a lot of things, diversity in all of its forms. So I think what we have found is that by intentionally helping people understand that different opinions, different thoughts, different ideas, different experiences, all those things together can really start to help move the needle when it comes to a big change or a big forward progress in some area that has been a challenge.
I love that. I think you're so right about that. This is about access. It's actually one of the big principle of the Women in Cloud community as well. I think just another maybe frame to think about is we should all question sameness, right, in every form. If your problem statement isn't changing, right? If the people around you aren't sort of being representative, do you know what's missing in your mix? Just even starting there, I think is a great way to sort of think about inclusion and diversity, including more access. Teresa, is there anything to add to this from your perspective?
Yeah, I just want to add a point, right? So, we're in a time of relentless change, and it's a great time to really engineer for inclusion and diversity, because nobody's an expert in the technologies that are coming out, right? So edge, 5G, AI, quantum computing, blockchain, right? Very few experts exist in any of these topics. And I would dare to say nobody's an expert in these technologies on cloud, right? And so you're going to need to grow the skills anyways. And so companies who are serious about, women in cloud and improving diversity, really need to step up their continuous learning. And they need to rethink and really outreach, right? And use this as a great opportunity to bootstrap and really serve these underserved groups. And so if we're going to think about quantum experts, let's get those quantum experts from these communities. Rethink the requirements. Do you really need a bachelor's of science in computer science for some of these capabilities? I would say no. I would say you have PhDs in quantum. Maybe that's not what we need. We need more people who know how to apply quantum to real problems, right? So these are great ways to really rethink and really practically how to actually grow.
Love that. That's such an excellent point. I think we're all sort of being asked to reimagine new access points in so many ways. It's excellent problem space to solve for, and all of us in technology have a role in being able to address that through our services, through the technology frameworks we provide, and through what we can model inside of our communities. Thank you. Excellent points. So let me ask you this, right? So this is like an inspiration question. So who inspires you as a purpose? Let's put that to Teresa. Why don't we start with you?
Sure. Well, clearly Julie, I already quoted her, but I'm going to pick Arianna Huffington, right? So I think recently she's launched Thrive. It's a way and a startup to help companies and employees like us, right, to be able to build our mental health and wellness resilience. And she has this great quote that, science tells us that we have the ability to course correct from stress, right? So within 60 seconds to 90 seconds from when stress happens, we can actually do things to really eliminate and reduce the stress. And I thought that was really powerful. It was a great data point. And I'm trying to reduce stress from my life, but I don't think you can eliminate it completely. And to know that there's this scientific way and an engineered way that you could actually, course correct from that and then bring us back to our purpose, right? So the purpose, and I think, why do you work? Like, why you work, part of it is your family, right? It is that bigger, meaningful outcome that the community is going to support. And that's actually what you use to course correct the stress, right? It reminds you why you're doing this in the first place.
Wonderful. Excellent point. I think that resonates with me. I think it resonates with a lot of people in the call today. How about you, Jason? Who inspires you?
Yeah, so what inspires me are really servant leaders, servant-driven leaders. Like I think of back in 1968, Shirley Chisholm, who was the first Black woman to be elected to Congress. She and I quote, said, "Service is the rent that we pay to occupy space on this earth." And to me, that's transformational, professionally, personally, in the things that we do. And I think that, leaders who have a service mentality are leaders who you want to aspire to be like. To me, leaders should continually step back and ask themselves questions like, hey, do we put our clients first? Are we putting our employees first? Do you praise in public and reprimand in private? Do you listen twice as much as you speak? Are you the one who checks your ego at the door? Are you, how well do you receive feedback? So to me, that servant mindset is what really differentiates leaders both professionally and personally.
Yep, wonderful. I think absolutely agree with that, and it sort of calls people to you as well that are sort of aligned in that purpose too. It kind of creates this whole self-generating thing. Thank you for sharing that. And Amy, how about you?
Well, there's a lot of people that I think I could pick, but top of mind for me, because I did a bunch of reading about this individual over the last week or so, because he was very much in the news, is Sir Richard Branson, and his willingness to really push the bounds of what people think is possible, and just the inspiration that he builds companies that attract people to meaningful work. He creates an environment for people to succeed and actually, sort of test the bounds of what we think is possible. He hires for teamwork and talent. He really does listen to learn. All of those things I think are really important characteristics of a purpose-driven leader. And I think we all saw a lot of evidence of that purpose-driven approach with the amazing achievement just like less than a week ago. So.
Yep, absolutely. Big vision and delivers it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep. So we're in our final question here. I want to thank you all for joining again today. A lot of great insights to share. You're all clearly purpose-driven leaders in your own right, and absolutely appreciate the partnerships that we've been able to establish here with Women in Cloud, and also as industry partners with Microsoft. So what final thoughts on how people should be thinking about their own pathway to purpose-driven leadership? Jason, let's start with you.
Okay. Yeah. So when I take a step back and I think about it, I think from a digital transformation lens, and I really think about three specific items. One is just the focus on data and how important data is that, in this new economy, the new natural resources, they say data, how are we as leaders thinking about data in the new digital economy? I think the pandemic, for example, was a tremendous lesson learned on how to pivot, and is your data foundation what it needs to be, where it needs to be. Are you able to capture data? Are you able to display and deliver data. So data is something that's extremely important from a purpose standpoint. Also, just reimagining workflows and making sure that once again you're able to pivot as a purpose-driven leader around pandemic-like situations that come up on the horizon. And then last but not least, really, what are you doing as a company to really remove conventional policies in the digital space, and how are you going to compete in the digital economy? What is your focus on digital? How are you looking at data privacy and cybersecurity? How are you becoming more discoverable to generate additional business? And also, what is your risk tolerance around the digital space? So once again, just a focus on digital transformation and how you and your company fit in.
Thank you so much. How about you, Amy?
I guess I would pick some maybe different attributes to think about, and that is just dreaming big. Like, don't let the boundaries of today's mindsets stop you from thinking about a bigger purpose, something that can be very meaningful to the world, to others, to the community. And with that, I think just making sure that you are tenacious and that you can find the resilience that you need to just keep going, because obviously these are not easy. A lot of the things that we've talked about today are not super simple problems to solve or super simple progress to make. It's going to take time and resilience and perseverance and all of those things. So I think just nurturing those things inside of you as a leader is really, really important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. You have to be really strong in purpose-driven work. Strong mindset. How about you, Teresa?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll carry on what Amy was saying. I mean, I think, again, using that purpose. So first, find your purpose and make sure it's authentic. Because once you find that and that purpose aligns with your role, that's going to give you that drive, right? It's that fuel that I described, the fuel that you're going to just be thinking about, learning about, making the armor that, again, when the challenges come in your way, it just kind of goes off your back, because it's no longer a scary thing, right? You have a purpose. And so it becomes a challenge. It's a puzzle that you need to solve to actually solve the bigger problem, but it's no longer the barrier. So it really changes your mindset. I think that mindset is really key. And I've done it myself, like as an individual. So just like how Jason was talking as a company, right? We need to set goals. We now need to do it for ourselves. Like, what actually makes you special, right? I really love technology. So as I think about privacy preserving technology, edge, 5G robotics, how do I apply this, right? To make, to share data more efficiently, to make an outcome, maybe in a, water network to get clean water, right? Think about your role and what you can do.
Yeah. Those are all excellent points. And I think collectively, right, that is going to be sort of like a superpower. And I know that word gets kind of tossed around a bit, but look at what it is. It's coming from a different force of yourself. When you can do things like Jason mentioned about using data to inform deeper insights, see opportunities in challenge. COVID was definitely a great landscape for all of us to tap into some deep creativity. Amy's point about dreaming big, being tenacious, and then with Teresa's point about having, let's challenge ourselves to find purpose in what we do every day, in the roles that we serve, in the leadership that we have in this moment. All of that together, I mean, how can you not be motivated and excited about that? So we could be talking all day long on this, and got some great comments coming in the chat. Please continue to do that as we go for the rest of the sessions. I want to thank you all for joining today. We know that customers are looking to us to drive purpose in the way that we connect with them, the way we deliver through all of these new stages of opportunity with marketplaces and customer experiences, communities. And there are many sessions that are coming over the next just couple of hours to help dig into this a little bit more. With that, we'll go ahead and close, and thank you so much for talking with us today.
Everyone.
Take care.